Hi, and welcome to this IT video tutorial from digistuff.co.uk. This week I'm going to show you how to use Microsoft PowerPoint 2013, how to do a really basic but effective PowerPoint presentation. So I'm just going to go ahead and open PowerPoint 2013. And this will be the first screen you see when you open it. And on the left hand side here, if you've used it before, what you'll see is recent PowerPoint presentations. Now they'll either be ones you've viewed or created yourself. You could also open other ones that aren't in this list, and if you click that, it just takes you to another screen there where you can see recent presentations, you can see ones in your OneDrive, and you can also browse your computer for them. I don't want to do that, I want to create a new one, so I'm just going to click the back button at the top left here. And then everything on this right hand side of the screen is about creating a new PowerPoint presentation, and these are what are called templates. Now that's pretty self-explanatory. It's a blank presentation, you just get the white background, no design whatsoever. You have to create your own design. This one is a third-party template. It's already got a background, the fonts have been set and what have you, and that's what we're going to use. I'm just going to show you a little bit more about this screen because you've obviously got the search for the online templates and themes. There are literally thousands of presentation templates and themes that have already been created for you. If you're new to this, you're probably not going to want to create your own template. There's probably one out there that serves your needs. Use these. Now Microsoft also give you some suggested searches, the most common searches. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what happens when you click on one of these. So I'm going to click on education. And just on the right hand side here, you can see there are 250 templates for education already designed for you. You're bound to find one that you're going to want to use here. Now, for me personally, and what I think works really well is less is more when it comes to a template. So I don't want anything with lots of pictures on, distracting backgrounds. I want something that's really clear. You can see the content that I'm trying to show to people. So I'm just going to select the one I have done previously, which is this one, because there's not a lot going on in the background. You can see the text clearly. Should work pretty well on a projector. So all you do is click on it. That will open up the template, and you can see what the other slide layouts will look like within that template. And I'm happy with that. I'm just going to click on the Create button. So that's created my presentation. And what it's done is show me some example slides of how that's going to look when I've created my own content. I don't want those, so I'm going to quickly go ahead and delete the whole lot of them. Clicked on the top one, and now I'm going to use Shift and left click with the mouse to highlight all of them, and then I'm going to click Delete. So how do I add a new slide? Well, if you've got no slides existing already, really simple, you click there. Microsoft PowerPoint's pretty clever. It knows that that's my first slide and it suspects I'm going to want a title slide. I think every presentation that you ever do will have a title slide. And it's as simple as that. That's how to add a new slide. Now, once you've already got a slide, you don't get that nice big box saying click here to add a slide. So with Microsoft there's always more than one way to do this. How do I add a new slide? Well, in the ribbon at the top here we've got these two buttons. So if I click on that one, that will simply add a new slide, won't give me any options, and it will select the slide layout that it is most common. In this case it's a title with some content. And that's fine. It might not be quite what I want. So up here, if I select the text rather than the image and click on that, that gives me some options. It gives me the default layouts that I can choose. I always recommend you try and choose one of the standard layouts because it makes life a lot easier for you. All the formatting's already done. If you want to change the entire slide deck at a later date, you can do that really easily if you've used these layouts. So I'm going to create a section header. Going to add some text in here because that'll be useful when I'm showing you the presentation later on. Oops. Not sure what word I was going for there. There we go. I'm just going to put some more text on there just so we've got plenty to work with. So there we go. The final way to add a new slide is in the white space here. Right click and click new slide. And because I used a subsection last time, it's gone with that again. I don't want that, so I want to change the layout. So how do I change the layout after I've created a slide? Two ways of doing it. One, you could right click, highlight layout, and change that by clicking there. Second way you can do it is at the top in the ribbon, and you've got layout, click on it, and you can change that there. There we go. So that's how you can add new slides, and that's how you also change the layouts of slides. As I say, always stick, if you can, with those standard layouts. It makes life much easier later on. So what's the next thing that I might use as a beginner? Well, up in the ribbon here we've got transitions. So this is talking about the transition from one slide to the next. Now, standard, it'll be fade. You can change this if you want. It's not something I do that often. There we have it, and that's how that will look. I'm just going to show you that again by going to the slideshow. Now, when you click slideshow, which is down in the bottom right hand side, it'll start at the slide you're selected on. So what you can do is just go to the first slide and click on slideshow down in the bottom right hand corner. Now what you're actually seeing here is I'm on dual screen monitors. What you're seeing here is the presenter view. I want to show you what it looks like on the big screen, so I'm just going to swap those around, and that's what happens. That's a slide transition. It's a little bit more fancy, so if I click on the next one, that's going to use the standard fade. Show you that once more. I'm right clicking to go back. So as I say, quite fancy. What I would say with slide transitions, generally stick with the default. If you do change it, keep it consistent throughout the presentation. So one thing you might have noticed when I selected curtains are there are some more options over here. So you can change the duration. So 6 seconds was quite a long time. So let's take that down to 2 seconds. Let's see how that looks. Let's say I'm on a dual screen monitor and that's why that keeps happening. I'm just going to click that. That was much quicker. I'll right click there and then click to end show. Now with this particular one there's actually no other options that you can do. With some of them, so that's drape, you can actually change the options. So you can have the drape coming in slightly from the right rather than from the left. Like I say, keep it consistent. You don't want to be chopping and changing throughout the presentation. So I'm just going to go back to fade because if I keep that in there it's going to be distracting you for the rest of this video. So what's the next thing that I might use as a beginner? So really simple, on the ribbon, animations. Animations are absolutely great when they're used well. What beginners tend to do a lot of is use animations far too much. So how do I add an animation? Well, it depends what you're doing, and I'm going to show you a line by line example, and that's done like so. Highlight the text that I want to animate, and you can do this with images, you can do it with titles. I've highlighted that, and now I select the animation that I want. So I'm going to do random bars. On this one I'm going to do zoom, and then I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do pulse. Now you'll notice that that was a different colour, and that's because there are different types of animation. The other thing you might notice is these numbers here. What they're doing is telling you what order they are going to be in. Now if you remember when I said view the slideshow, it'll go from the slide that you're selected on. So there we go. So you'll notice the ones that I've given an animation to on this slide. Anything that didn't have an animation is there to begin with. So you have to click again, and then one by one they'll appear with the animation I selected. And that's animations in a nutshell. Like I say, use them sparingly. Beginners tend to overuse them. What I would recommend is, rather than line by line, what you could have done is done the entire paragraph. So maybe a fade. Let's do that over a few seconds just so you can really see it. Again, I generally do this quite quick. I wouldn't want to do it over several seconds. I'm just doing this to show you how that looks. There we go, that's a fade in example. Like I say, use them sparingly. The next thing I want to show you is something called notes. Notes, especially when you're new at presenting, are absolutely brilliant. Also great if, like me, you've got a terrible memory. So down the bottom here we have something called notes. Click to add notes, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And why are notes useful? Notes help jog your memory, especially if you've got a lot of slides. So where do you see these notes? The thing to remember with notes is that the people viewing your presentation, the people that you're showing your presentation to, they don't see notes. So what we've got on screen is the presenter view. And I'm just going to very quickly talk about this presenter view. You've got the slide that's currently showing, and on the right hand side you've got the next slide up. You've also got some options, so you could draw on your slide or use a laser pointer to emphasize things. You can then skip on to the next one. You'll notice I've got no notes. So on this one you can see the notes I've typed in. Now they're probably going to be something a little bit more useful than an example of notes. Use these a lot. Like I say, really great if you've got a terrible memory. They just jog your memory. They're brilliant. I'm just going to end the presentation. So I'm going to click close to end it, or I could end the slideshow at the top here. And that's what I'm going to do. Now, earlier in this video, I talked about changing the design and using standard layouts. If you've used standard layouts like I have here, and you're not happy with the template that you selected, you can change it once you've created it. So I'm going to go to design, and these are templates. I'm just going to hover over them for now. As you can see, as I go through that, it's changing the design. What you can't see at the moment is that that will affect the rest of the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. And then on the left hand side here, you'll see that all my other slides have changed to that layout. Because I've used the standard layout, every slide has changed to fit that new template, and that's why using those standard layouts is absolutely key. So that's it for this video. That was a beginner's guide to using Microsoft PowerPoint 2013. Come back in the future for a more in-depth guide of how to use Microsoft PowerPoint 2013 to create a really great presentation. Thanks for watching.